Hi, I'm Tim. Welcome to Watchbox, and thanks for logging on. If you love this watch, email me, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. It's in the description below. Your purchase and pricing email question line for buying this or any watch you see on any Watchbox property. Please reach out to me directly, tmosso@thewatchbox.com. This is just an underrated gem. I love the Royal Oaks. I love the offshores. Obviously, that is where the identity of Audemars Piguet has been built up in the modern era. But in the 40s, the 50s, and the 60s, and the 20th century, Audemars Piguet was part of the holy trinity of high horology because of watches like this. This is the Audemars Piguet Jules Audemars Perpetual, a timepiece 41 millimeters in rose gold that is only 9.2 millimeters thick and from lug to lug a delightfully accommodating 46.9 millimeters. It is broad between the lugs, however, giving it a lovely planted modern stance on the wrist. My wrist, 16 centimeters in circumference, wears it well. As you can see, the lugs are nowhere near the edge of my wrist, and I really do mean nowhere near. From overhead, you can see that well, and then the cuff shot reveals this is an easy watch to wear underneath a sleeve. Taking a look at the hardware and the software, it does not disappoint. The strap, as you can see, is an Audemars Piguet factory strap in brand new condition. It's medium alligator leather, alligator scale, I should say, medium scale alligator leather in dark brown with a monotone stitch and a folded rounded off edge on its side. You can also see the curved spring bars were used, allowing the lugs to be drilled very close to the case, so the pivot centers of the strap actually a lot closer together than the tips of the lugs, making the watch wear even better on a small wrist. Thanks to the curved spring bar, the strap has full range of motion. The buckle here is a full deploying clasp, rose gold. It's all of high polish. It is the AP logo style deployant, so you've got the AP logo mirrored and a single fold action to keep it secure on your wrist and avoid accidental droppage. The case is just gorgeous. First, take a look at that welded lug construction. You can see that the lugs were built separately from the case and then inserted into slots and then welded with evidence of the welded joint removed by hand. AP makes these cases, and you can see the AP maker's mark on the case, and you can see that beautiful joint executed by hand, the rest satinated and polished for contrast. This is the kind of artistry that makes high horology delightful, when you can see on the outside of your watch that the hand finishing starts there and continues inboard. Now the bezel is polished and narrow. It's like a golden halo surrounding a dial of brown bronze sunburst metallic, a very special watch. You can see it has cruciform symmetry, so you can split it from top down and side to side, and there's a gorgeous symmetry and balance to this dial. You can appreciate that the sub-registers for the day, the quantième bissextile, or leap year, the month, as well as the date, they have little polished chapter rings, and then you have an age of the moon and moon phase display at 6 o'clock. It is a perpetual calendar, and Audemars Piguet has been an innovator in that regard, starting in the 1950s, when they were the first to use a leap year phase indicator on a perpetual calendar. The hands, as well as the indices, are polished rose gold, 18 karat, and when you flip the watch over, it's also solid gold in a manner of speaking on the reverse side. Quantième Perpetuel, and you can see it is an H series watch, so it was part of the 2011 to 2012 H series of Audemars Piguet production. Now the movement is the 2120 base. It's the same ultra-thin automatic that you'll see in service on the Royal Oak Jumbo. The basic movement is only 2.4 millimeters thick before you add modules, so it is a rather remarkable feat of mechanical engineering. This basic design debuted in 1967 as the JLC 920 Bausch, which was developed for AP, Vacheron, and Patek, and used by them, but never used by JLC. Luminaries in the industry that have used this movement include the first Royal Oak as well as the first Nautilus Jumbo 3700 model. So today AP makes this movement in-house and it finishes it in-house, and the degree of finishing, everything from the quality of the screws to the engraving of the rotor to the mirrored beveling, it is a higher plane than the mostly mechanically finished movements that you'll find in mainstream AP watches. That slows down the production rate for these watches. However, since 2012, AP has cut down on the use of this engraved and hand-finished rotor, which I find to be the pièce de résistance on this movement. You could see it's been both skeletonized and freehand engraved with a burin, making it very special. You can also see the A and the P logo with these sharp outward tips on that structure that frames them. That set of outward tips, I should mention, incredibly difficult to achieve, along with the sharp interior angles at the edge of the P and the A. Those are some of the most difficult arts to master for the finisseurs who create these movements. So those sharp outward tips and those sharp inward angles are absolutely maddening to create. Now the watch has a Gyromax style free sprung balance, which means it's 5-position adjustment, which is the same as a chronometer. It's the high horology standard, but the 5-position adjustment will be held and can be precisely set using this variable inertia balance. There is no mobile stud index regulator. The movement pivots on 38 joules, and it actually has an annular rotor. So although there's a mass on one side, you can see this little beryllium ring. It runs all the way around the movement, and it sits on 4 pivot joules that allow the rotor to be sunken almost flush with the bridges to thin out the movement and avoid the contact of rotor and mass with the bridges and plates. So that's what those 4 rotor joules accomplish. It beats away at 19,800 vibrations per hour, and it has a unidirectional winding action with a 40-hour power reserve. All of this is 20 meters water resistant, and of course a perpetual calendar that need not be reset until the year 2100. Reach out to Tim Mosso at thewatchbox.com for purchase and pricing details.